Hi everyone. This is the first of the many kind of the love and business segment. All right, so this is not to get anyone, overworked, overwhelmed by trying to figure out their relationship and maybe starting a business or going for business. This is not to shade anyone, but this segment 15 to 30 minutes is just basically to help us understand what building that intimate relationship. It could be with our friends, it could be with our family, it could be with our loved ones. Understanding that you can thrive in both your relationships and your business. So we would basically be talking about real life experiences, just sharing our thoughts, right? So if you have any questions, you can always drop it in the chat or just leave it in the comments. We'll definitely pick it up. If you also want to join us here, yes, you can. All you just need to do is signify that you want to join in a conversation, and we're happy to get you in. So with me, my amazing partner, my name is TC, but I have with me an amazing relationship expert. Obviously, that's why I'm having her, right? Because she's very good at what she does, and obviously, she's going to give us an insight. We're literally going to be talking about it, right? I'm this business person. She's this, very intentional relationship expert that literally gets you understanding who you are as an individual and how to figure out the energy around you. And so that's why I love that we're doing this together, Aya. So hey everyone, I have with me Aya. Aya, please over to you. Let's get
I am here and I hope you can hear me. Oh, yeah, you can hear me. I heard that. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of about me. I am an energy coach and I do specialize in marriage and relationships. And basically, everywhere you hear me speak, I'm going to talk about the importance of understanding how love, money, and health is all connected. So obviously, having couples talking about how to thrive together in love and business, in life and business, is a huge deal for me because it's ultimately what I want my clients to see, what I ultimately want have to be, and I have to walk the path so my clients can follow that path. So yeah, I have quite some stories and quite some tips to go and see there. So yeah, I'm excited about this.
Aya. While I was, thinking about what this segment would look like, right? I know
Hmm.
that I actually spoke to a couple of people about having this kind of conversation. And I remember one of my mentor asking me, and she's like, 1 hour. TC, why do you want to have this conversation? And I said to her, I said, there's so much that goes behind the scenes of building that thriving business. Now, too many times we want to tell ourselves that we can, figure out our businesses without budging ourselves about what's happening behind the scene. But like Aya, it's all about the relationships you have. It's about, the energy you find yourself within. And if there's anything I know is that if you're in a very terrible relationship, whether you agree or not, it's definitely going to affect the way you show up. One, it's going to affect the way you sell. Two, it's going to literally affect the way you even do business, right? So that's really my thought. I do not have like the dynamics, right? But I know that it finds a way of creeping in, right? So that's why I want us to have this conversation now. My question, obviously, I know as a relationship expert, to what end do you feel like do you feel like they're setting maybe restrictions, limitations couples need to, or maybe boundaries couples need to maybe set so that they're able to have that balance? Or do you think that um maybe we are overthinking things, saying to ourselves, oh no, we can't maybe have a business or run a business with our partners? Or we're saying to ourselves, it's going to be pretty hard to run a business or have a business and also have a successful relationship.
Well, look, yeah, there are definitely some boundaries, especially if you're in a business together. For example, I'll give you my story, right? So I do have three brick and mortar businesses here in Punta Cana, and obviously I do my coaching. And then I have my husband who has another business that I kind of help him with. So I'm like his secretary slash tech person or whatever, right? So there's definitely got to be boundaries because um and then like for example, for all the things that I help him with or for all the things that he helps me with, knowing that sometimes I'm going to say no, knowing that he's going to say no, knowing that he's going to have different priorities and I'm going to have different priorities because we're in business together and we are helping each other. But a lot of times it can clash because we have people, we have these expectations of my husband's supposed to do all that for me or she's supposed to do it for me, or again we take it for granted. There was a time when my husband took my speciality and what I did for him for granted, and I said, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore because I need you to understand, like the time and the energy that I take for you to do it, and you think it's and I have already a full plate and all that stuff. So he needed to learn the lesson. But again, the bottom line of all of this is ultimately making sure that it doesn't ignite conflict. And I'm not saying the healthy kind of a conflict, because there's always going to be a conflict, like something you messed up, something you did wrong or whatever, and then you go over it and you learn about it and you make it better next time. But those kind of conflicts that usually build up resents and anger and frustration and all that, because I'm sure you've all heard of those stories when people work together and then they're like, say don't be in the same business or don't work together or blah blah blah, which is, again, it can be to a certain extent true if you do not know how to handle your emotions and knowing how to basically do the personal stuff and then the professional stuff from two different aspects, and not to get those two mixed up. And even, yeah, like when my husband and I go on a date, we were gonna very automatically try to come and talk about business and the projects and the plans and all the stuff, and all of a sudden we were doing business fully on business meeting versus then actually having a date. That set up some boundaries and you say like, okay, let's talk, let's move the phones, let's not use the phones, let's do this, let's do this. And again, just being very intentional and very present with this kind of moments, because I always talk about learning how to balance all this out, not just with your husband now, but obviously in your daily life as a mompreneur, for example, that you're doing business, that you spend time with your husband and that you spend time with your kids and you have enough time for yourself. All of this is basically a finesse that we all need to establish. And is, yeah, obviously it comes with values and it comes with boundaries that we have to sometimes even write down if it's necessary. Do you have any boundaries written down, TC? How
And
is
get
it?
every, and
Tell
get
me.
everyone to sign.
Yeah, like we need to sign those contracts. I'm telling you, sometimes it's just simple. Like sometimes I'm gonna write some stuff down, and I'll be like, "Hey, I got to some," like even the way that I coach my people when it comes to having communication with your spouse. Like sometimes it's like you got to write stuff down and you're not going to speak about this conflict at this specific moment right there, but you're going to write it down. You're going to remember it, and then you're going to come back to it in a week later and you'll be like, okay, we need to talk about this. Because again, the first thing I want people to understand, that conflict itself by itself is great. Conflict helps you grow, you know uh, conflict helps you learn things about you and the other person. But again, you need to take it as a positive thing. It's not like, oh shit, we're doing this again, oh my god, we're having this misunderstanding again. But it's like, okay, misunderstanding happened, okay, how can we fix this, how can we be better? And of course, if two people come with a calm and clear mind together, then you're ultimately bound to grow, because we are, this is the fact of the universe. We came together as a man and woman because God made us like that, so that we could come together and grow exponentially faster. And I have a lot of, let's say, successful people that I work with who just this, for example, feel stuck in financial. Let's say that they're good financially, but they still feel like there's want to explore more of the potential. and they feel like, oh, they're not doing enough, or they're not mingling enough, or not whatever enough, and at the end it turns out that they've just had so much negative energy in their relationship that that energy basically blocked them on making more money, or doing the next milestone when it comes in your business. And that's why I am so passionate about talking about the combination of all this, because where you have energy in one area and you see and you think it's only in that area, it's not. It comes out in your business as well, and it blocks you. You just don't see it. Does that make sense?
It does. You know, I'm smiling. Okay, so for everyone wondering what we're talking about today, we're talking about entrepreneurial couples thriving together in love and business. So, I know somebody have asked me in the past, what do I mean by entrepreneurial couples? So, if you have, um, so you have an intimate relationship with someone, right? And the both of you, right, male, female, you come together and you say, hey, we love ourselves, we have something to do with ourselves, relationship wise, but we also want to come together to build a business, start a business, run a business, make money together. Now, the both of you together as a partner in that business and in that relationship are called a right? So just in case you're asking, so you necessarily do not need to be in court, married, right? As long as you're in relationship, because the truth is it goes two ways, right? So that's basically what that means. And I was smiling, Aya, because I remembered, so like this period I had like a very heated, heated conversation with my husband. So what happened was, so my husband is a software developer, and he's like big time into developing like apps and stuff. And so I got a particular contract, and no, somebody reached out to me. I was like, "Oh, please, can you build this app?" And I'm like, "Yes, I can. I can always get somebody to do it." Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. There's
Oh,
a little bit of a delay, but I can hear you.
oh, okay. And he was like, so I reached out to him, and I'm like, do you have space, like maybe a slot or something for another client? He has his own business, right? He has his own company, and he's like, yes, my team and I can, take that space. And I'm like, but it's going to be under my company. And he's like, yeah, that's fine, right? And so it was supposed to be that way. And so in my smart mind, I'm like, let me, push in the contract to get to signing and blah blah blah. And he's like looking at me with one side of his eye, and I'm like, yes, you need to sign it, right? Now we both have our offices in the same house, right? I'm in one corner and he's in another, and I thought this was enough boundaries until we started having like serious heated arguments, right? Like, he's like, no, don't tell me what to do. No, I'm like, no, you have to listen to me because this is my project. And then he goes, no. And I'm like it was
Well, TC, you're like your point. You're giving it a great example, because the problem with people like and in couples working together is if you don't have your emotions under control, then just forget about it, right? And that's the whole thing. Like, again, there's a bunch of like emotionality that comes in between. So if you do not know how to control it, then that's definitely not for you.
I agree because sometimes we think that that's the part I wanted to throw in because we think that it's it only starts and end with a structure, right? We think it only starts and end with, okay, yeah, I have a system in place or I have a this in place, but you forget that it's your relationship, right? Now, if you want to keep the two things, like I've seen couples literally break up because of money, break up because
Oh
of
no,
the
this is TC. This is a huge rate in the states. Like, I think money is number one or number two divorce reason.
And it's not because those systems are not in place. It's not because that's why I always say that even as business owners, we need emotional intelligence, right? I call it emotion system,
Mm.
right? I call it solid emotion system because you want to be able to check yourself. And I think we both had to, yeah, we're both professionals, but at the end of the day, we had to, because the relationship I have with my sibling, for example, and the relationship I have with maybe a client is different from the relationship I have with him, right? And now this is not just a boyfriend, this is a husband, and so it's different again. And so it was literally so heated up. I remember I cried like almost throughout the night, is one single day, like, and I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. Blah blah blah. But the client, has been loving the project, so far, and we're almost done. And like, how do I go meet this client to say, you know what? I'm literally going to get somebody else to fix this for you, but I can't because obviously the client shouldn't know that we're having this in house, and the client actually didn't know that it was my husband's company building the app, right? And she's
Mm-hmm.
there loving the app, and we're just about to launch, and we had like this very heated, and the very funny part, the argument was just about a particular layout. Now he said he loved a certain layout differently. I said I like the layout, and that was literally the beginning of the argument. Like,
Exactly. And there's this like these patty conversations at the end that you have. And that's why you sometimes, again, having yourself, your emotions under control. And I do believe, because, and that's what I believe when two people in a relationship, let's say, step together and they're eager and ambitious and they want to grow and they want to do projects together, it can be amazing, 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 amazing. Because one of the best examples, probably, that we do have in the States, TCM, I don't know if you know, but Grant Cardone and Melanie Cardone, they're doing a lot of businesses together, right? And it can really exponentially keep you growing, but it's not for everyone. And that's why not everyone has the relationship or has the richness, because doing that in with that specific person can be very, very triggering, can be very, very, again, like having emotions under control and your, you know, EQ regulated and all that stuff. So it's a quite challenge. But like I said, if you're able of overcoming that, then I believe that there's a huge, huge benefit.
there is, and it's really very profitable, I must say, because I know that in the past 2 years that I've started partnering with this company, we've literally grown. Literally grown high end, because then I get to get like really high end tech contracts, right, from really good organizations. So and they pay like big, cool, and all of that. So it's like an added um thing for me, right? And the truth is, every time I remember that scenario, like I tease him about it, and he's like, "Well, that's because you're too proud." And I'm like, "That's because you have so much ego."
The same thing. It's the same thing. The same thing for both of you, but just different perspective, like from a different point of view. And that's why,
Exactly.
yeah, like having learn, especially, yeah, ego, I mean, like I said, having emotions under control, but having your ego under control is even more, because then again, you just have patty conversations. And how many things, even in a marriage by itself, how many things you just gotta let it slide. Like you really gotta pick your battles, and sometimes it's just not worth of being in that battle about whatever. And the same, I think, is just exponentially more, on a bigger scale when it comes with business and then in relationship.
I, I I think so. I think so as well. And really, it's not for everyone, like you said, right? But I feel like there is strength and there is power in having a partner, you working together, because I think it's just you understanding the whole dynamic, understanding your emotions, understanding who you are, understanding the vision, understanding where you're going to, right? That would help you in knowing that you can set those boundaries, but also set those emotional boundaries. If there's,
Exactly.
if there's anything like that, right? But yes, I love that we got the chance to talk about it, and
And even if we're just a little, we're gonna make sure we're next weekend when we don't have a meeting, when we're more prepared and when we're like, oh shit, okay, yeah, we're like multitasking, but we really obviously couldn't let this go. because I think it would be a great topic for anybody, and a great topic that we can, bring to the community that will help. And again, it doesn't have to be when you're in specific. It's not like we're talking about just being in the same business, but we're just understanding and learning how that in through the business that you can enhance your marriage and have it more meaningful, or it can backfire and again basically puts you apart, because that's where I maybe that's where we gonna like kind of start next week.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And yes, if you are watching the replay, let us know what kind of conversation you would love to have.
Questions like
Like,
like real reality stuff, that would be even juicier.
yeah, I think I would love that also. And yeah, share with us in the comments what you would love to, listen
For us to
to.
address, yeah.
Exactly, because I think I would be 9 years married in by October. Yeah, that's pretty very little years being married. However, I think I have been able to have my fights, have my cries, have my moments of yay, but at the
Hmm.
end of the day, it's um it's something that you want to figure out to be able to build your business, right? That's basically what the segment is about, love and business, right? So, regardless of what relationship you have, if you have questions, you want real life, experiences, let us know in the comments. Okay, we are happy to because we want to have this conversation. I know too many people do not have this kind of conversation, and because I know that your relationship, the energy you find yourself in, and what the energy you attract to yourself is a very big element to your business success. I have worked with so many clients, right now and in the past, and I tell you, this is one thing that we don't talk about, but this is real, right? Because the energy you attract, the one you bring from your relationship, be it from your parents, from your siblings, from the people you love, it finds a way of affecting your business, right? So let's talk about it. I'm sure that when they say something half talked about is half solved. I think so. But thank you so
We
much, Aya.
definitely have to do. Thank you for being here, everyone.
Thank you. All right, then. Have a good one. Bye.